Hey folks, my name is Rene Enriquez. Welcome to Uncensored. We're going to do a new episode today. But I want to give you guys an update. You know, a lot has been happening since the hacking of the channels and losing MobSpot and Uncensored. Just an FYI again, because there are a lot of comments stating why the channel was taken down. We weren't taken down by YouTube. YouTube took the channels down because they were hacked and utilized by scammers to stream scamming videos. So that said, you know, we're rebuilding the channel. MobSpot will not return. Uncensored will proceed with Past the Wire series. There'll be episodes upcoming soon. Today I'm going to do a Q&A. But to the people who speak Spanish out there, hay mucha gente que me está preguntando, quiere que yo haga un capítulo en español. Yo puedo hablar español bastante bien para comunicar, pero yo no puedo articular como en inglés. Y no quiero que me critican que soy plástico, que soy pocho. Esa es la razón que no hago capítulos en español. Lo que puedo hacer en el futuro es poner subtítulos en español. Vamos a tratar de hacer eso en el futuro. Para que te sepas. Okay, and that's to all the Latinos, Hispanos, Chicanos, Boricuas, and I hate all these phrases, right, because they're ethnic labels, but to anybody who speaks Spanish out there, look, I can speak Spanish, right? But I don't speak Spanish like I speak English. And if I'm going to bring you an episode, it's going to be quality, right? So I'd rather do it in English with Spanish subtitles. I hope that satisfies everybody. So without further ado, we're going to get to the questions, because there have been a shit ton of questions. And I want to answer some of them. I want to give back to the viewers who are the backbone of this channel. It's the viewers, the subscribers. You guys built this thing in record time. So I want to thank each of you. That's really what this is about. Just take a moment, take a deep breath, and say thank you all for rebuilding this channel in record time. We're back. New episodes are going to start coming up. Past the Wire is going to continue as always. We got a bunch of good stuff coming up, including Reading the Black Hand. That's coming up again. And I'll start reading that personally with some exclusive video content that's never been seen before. I'll be posting never before seen video, which I did recently. So, like I said, without further ado, I'm going to read some comments and questions from the audience. This one is from God's Chosen People 5084. I want to hear more about you, Rene. What was your first meal coming out? What's something new that you may have tried that you never tried before in prison? Stuff like that. I think everything is new. I think waking up without having to ask somebody, can you open my door? Or can I use the restroom? Or having a choice of food to eat. The crazy thing for me is unlocked doors. Like, I can get up at midnight and go in the backyard and have a cigar. Or I can take off to a liquor store if I want to and go have a pizza. Those are the things that really, the freedom, and I don't even think the word freedom encompasses the sense of it, but that's one thing that's huge to me. And I think the visuals, the visual stimulation, because you don't see hummingbirds in prison, you don't see trees in prison, you don't hear babies cry, you don't hear dogs bark unless it's a canine coming to tear up your cell, right? There's so many things that it's impossible to give you just one or two or three or five, because there are thousands of them that I experience every day. That's the blessing. Next question is from Bogus666. What happened to the MobSpot channel? The MobSpot channel was a temporary joint effort between Ramon Mendoza and I. Ramon will not be returning. The MobSpot will not be returning. Ramon will be posting the videos, his interviews on his channel, and I will be posting my interviews on my channel. I dare say that that's a possibility that we may do a interview on his channel or my channel in the future, but that's not written in stone. We're still good friends. There was no beef between us. Ramon started the channel, and unfortunately, I got hacked, which was a natural dissolution of the relationship, right? Next question, IC4295. Another banger. What surprised me most when you got out? What surprised you most when you got out of prison after being locked up for so many years? Probably the new gang members. the new style with the Edgar haircuts and this new Edgar generation, uh, that surprised me a lot because I remember what gang members looked like before, and this new style, the adoption of this new language they use, it kind of shocked me, right? But there are a lot of things, not just one thing. That's just one of them. Next question is El Blanco 463. Will we ever be able to hear wiretaps they got of you when you're leaving that organization? No, you're not going to hear my wiretaps because they don't exist. I didn't speak that way on the phone. I used codes. I used kites. I used sign language. I used letters. And they don't exist. It's not because I don't want to show how much of a buffoon I was, right? By talking on the phone, because I didn't. I had some discretion in my manner of communication. So they just don't exist. If they did, I'd play them no problem. You know, what I'm trying to get is some of the interviews that I did during my debrief, which is kind of along the same thing, right, at Pelican Bay. So if I get my hands on those, I will do it. And there's one recording where the IGI in Pelican Bay caught me in a visiting room speaking about being tired of being in the organization and I wanted to leave. That's what I'm trying to get now. I don't know if it's possible, but if I do get that, I'll run that for you. And that's a commitment from me to you. This next one is from Ruben Jimenez, 9993. I have a question, Mr. Enriquez. Do all of the members of the Mexican Mafia know when a member is green lit? What happens if they don't all agree? I've often wondered who has the last word. Thank you for your education in this world. You're welcome. Well, it's a consensus, really. So you got to consider their organization a direct democracy. It's egalitarian. One man, one vote, majority rules. Changed a little bit since that time, right? Because there's now a MESA and there's a commission in the feds, MESA in the state. But really, it comes down to a consensus of Mexican Mafia members and who has the most juice, right? So once somebody's getting politicked on, you know. His name's in the hat, they're tossing him up, he's dragged through the mud, and that's just basically Mexican Mafia members talking about what he did wrong or what the accusation is, and you'll know he's in the hat. Even if the support for him outweighs the opposition, dead men have no support. So it could be 2 or 3 brothers that want him killed and they kill him. Once he's dead, he really has no support. There may be a little blowback politically, but it's a really dirty world in politics, and politics within the organization, right? And that's usually how it plays out. But everybody knows. It's just, it's common sense when somebody's getting politicked on. Next question. This is from El Carmona. Was there ever family members that had to take their own sibling for the organization? Like what Puppet did to his brother in the movie? Yeah, there was. There was Vito Rodriguez. Ralph Rodriguez killed his brother Güero from San Fernando Valle. His brother had messed up, and he's the one who killed him. That's how much he believed in the organization. I believe there was another incident, but I'm uncertain of the details. So I won't speak on it because I don't want to be called wrong. But there was one other incident where Carnal participated in the death of his brother. But that's the one I know of for sure. And what happened to Vito, he got hit years later. He ended up paroling. He's out now. I think he's still alive. He's probably in his 70s, 80s now. Wish him well if he's still alive. If not, rest in peace. Next question is Thad_CO. How did you guys receive the movie Blood In, Blood Out compared to American Me? Funny story, the warden in that movie, Dan Velasquez, I think it was, I ended up testifying in a RICO trial in San Diego against what Sherm was called Operation in the Hat. The name of the case was United States versus Raul Leon et al. And the warden in that movie, Dan Vasquez or Velasquez, actually testified as the defense expert, and I was the people's expert, right? And his facts were like completely wrong. He was so far removed from corrections, he didn't know what was going on. But I think that for the most part, it was a farce. Blood In, Blood Out was almost comical in terms of the overacting. Popeye, give me some chon chon, that line. And La Onda when he gives him the apple. Like, a lot of it was just so far out there. I'm actually planning on doing a review on the movie, and I'll give you my take on it. And that's why I think the organization wasn't affronted. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The organization wasn't really offended by American Me. Um, Most members that I know like the movie. I like the movie. I mean, it literally put the organization on a national scale. Because before that, nobody really knew about the Mexican Mafia. They didn't know about it. They didn't hear about it. I mean, if you did, it was in the hood and it was hushed undertones and whispers. So uh, that's why. Because Blood In, Blood Out was more comical, farcical than American Me, which attempted to replicate Cheyenne Cadena's death and his life and some of the real things that happened in prison. A lot of it was BS, but that's why I was offended. Okay, here's another one. Austin, J1E2 dollar sign, or S. I can't read that well, or I can't see that well. I can read really well. I have a question for you. Looking back in the gang life, was it better to lead by fear or respect? Well, there's a difference between demanding respect and commanding respect. As a Mexican Mafia member, a prison gang leader, you don't command respect, you demand it, right? And the fear that you interpret as respect is not that at all. So I don't think it was leadership at all. I think it was indoctrination and brainwashing and manipulation of people. I mean, I'm just being honest here, right? I don't think you could look at any one of those men and say they're leaders in the righteous sense of the word, right? Are they at the top of the game in the gang? Sure, you know, they got there through ferocity, whatever, politics, whatever. But leading, no, it's not that. It's using. They use people. I use people. That's who I was. That's what the organization is. Here's Joe B, 5678. What happened to Mundo? Just explained it. Mundo's doing well. He started a new channel with PFP, Cops and Convicts. I encourage everybody to go check it out. But he's well. Another one, Manuel Amador, 9175. Do any of them get flashy purchases, or do any of them get flashy purchasing expensive things? That's how it's written, folks. Yeah, some of them do. You know, everybody likes nice things, especially some of the Mexican Mafia members out today, pushing nice rides, wearing Louis Vuitton. A different type of Mexican Mafia member, which I said is like kind of the Edgar generation of Mexican Mafia member. But some of them like flashy things. Next question. How does this work? Oh, this is from Dylan, K7Y. How does this work? Do you just go into an area, find out who the drug dealers are, and say, we're La M, give us what we want, or else? That's basically how it works. Like, hey, I'm so-and-so from the Mexican Mafia, or this is my emissary. One of my emissaries go in there, one of my representatives, and say, hey, look, I represent so-and-so, you're going to pay or you die. And that's it. That's how it works. And it works. It's very effective. We call it the program. Okay, the next one is Nady, G1U. Nady, G1U. 2 weeks ago, does the EMA have 13 commandments? Like NF Northerners has 14 commandments, written in tiny letters on a small piece of paper. If so, are members given one at the beginning or expected to memorize and abide by them? Thank you. No. The Mexican Mafia isn't like that at all. There's like 9, 10 rules that are given to you upon induction, right? And there's a bunch of unwritten gray rules, right? But you're not given rules. It's not paramilitary. You're given the rules you abide by as a Mexican Mafia member. If you violate those rules, it's punishable by death. And that's just how it is, right? They don't write them. There's no historian. You don't have to do essays. None of that stuff. It's not like the NF at all. That's where the Mexican Mafia and the NF broadly differentiate. Next question is by Robert Turquides, 856. What good is all the power and money if he was in prison most of his life and ends up dying in prison by himself? I'm thinking you're talking about Tonito. Could have been any one of the carnales that we did pieces on the channel. But it really is, the money is nothing to the Mexican Mafia member because they can spend very little. I think now the maximum allowance for a canteen for Privilege Group A status is $300. and one monthly purchase and quarterly package, right? So you can't really spend too much. So all those thousands and thousands of dollars that are going to his coffers are being distributed to whoever he wants them to be distributed to. So it doesn't really do much for him in terms of power. I mean, if you look at it, really, I mean, really look at it for its down to its cellular level. It's not really power, you know, running a prison yard or having a reputation as a mobster or running a gang or having influence in that specific gang. That's not real power. Not to me, it isn't. Maybe to other people it is, but since I've left that I've realized that's not power at all. Next one is from Det One Navy guy. Know my lifestyle is know my lifestyle, but it's intriguing. Not my lifestyle, but it's intriguing. So I ask, like anything else in life, if a man can make money, a lot of it for the organization, does he need to gain his way in, or will they bend the rules because of his way of making money? You know, unfortunately, that's what it's become now. Before, it didn't matter how much money you had, how much dope you had. If you didn't have it here, if you weren't material, then you weren't going to buy your way in. But now, you know, if a guy gets close to a carnal and throws a lot of money onto him, and is a good earner, he can get in. Guys that have never been to prison are getting in. Guys that, you know, have never done anything for the organization, never killed for it, never shed blood for it, are getting in the organization. And that's the way it is now. Next question. I think this is the last question. Mrs. G, 1997. What was the purpose of flying you guys from Wasco to LA County Jail only to bus you back to the Bay? Did they realize how inhumane the helicopter transport was? Yes, they realized that. They realized exactly how inhumane and difficult and painful it was. I think the entire Pelican drop operation where we transported those helicopters and blindfolded, I think that was it was intentional. It was to instill fear in us and discomfort. In fact, they told us, every time you come to court, this is going to happen. And I swore, everybody in that transport said, we're never coming back to court. And I told people, do not subpoena me to court anymore. So it stopped. It had its desired effect. It was pretty difficult. So, you know, it was effective in that it dissuaded Mexican Mafia members and gang members from coming down to court to use the subpoena system. So yeah, it was inhumane, but it was very effective. With that said, folks, you know what? We're gonna have more episodes. We're gonna do this Q&A regularly. I want to give back to the audience. I want to give back to the viewers. I want to engage you. I want you to know that we're listening to your comments. I try to respond to them when I can. Again, thank you all for building this channel back up to what it is. With that said, peace out. Stay tuned, like, subscribe, and share with a friend.